Welcome to the DNA Health Investigation Podcast. I'm Lisa Witherow, and I'm here because we've been given generic health advice that doesn't address our unique needs for far too long. We all deserve to know the facts about our health instead of just hoping for the best. This podcast will help end the guesswork and offer you a view of what you need to start treating your biology like the forensic evidence that it is. No more trends and trial and error. Instead, you get to know all about the facts within your body. It's time to stop searching for answers outside of ourselves and start uncovering the truth within. If you want more than standard diagnostics and temporary fixes, let's dive into the DNA evidence-based approach to better health. Hello there. Hope everybody is doing great today. I wanted to address a few questions that I've had lately and really give a perspective shift. I'm not sure that it is necessary for all of you, but the goal is for you to appreciate the opportunities that we have with new approaches and new technology to improve our lives. One of the big buzzwords right now is epigenetics. And just to really narrow that down and bring it into terms that we can appreciate, it's truly just utilizing our diet, our lifestyle, and sometimes compensating for our environment, but building an environment for the areas that we have control over, building an environment that is supportive of our health. For the areas of the environment that we don't have control over, making sure that we are compensating and identifying which of those elements are difficult for us to handle and how to compensate and support the body. So epigenetics are really relevant to wellness and prevention. We want to make sure that our performance is supported by what we're eating and how we're living our lives, if we're exercising, working out, meditating, what we're doing on a regular basis to prepare for sleep. When we start to recognize all of these opportunities, they can become strategies. We want to make sure that we are honoring our past. So we're looking at, have we had any symptoms or really good times? Let's say that we've had a segment of time that has been phenomenal. We've been really healthy. Everything was going our way. Let's dissect that. Let's go back and reverse engineer it to see what were we doing back then that is different from now if things are not the same. We want to be able to appreciate what has served us, and we can learn from the past. We can learn from what has helped us, and we can learn from what has been our undoing. And of course, we have factors that we can't necessarily change immediately, things like stress, some environmental aspects. If we have any kind of a health issue that has either gradually occurred and we can't necessarily turn on a dime, we need to appreciate what we can do as steps towards our ideal health, rather than assuming that if we can't change it in one day, then it's not going to change. I really feel like that's messaging that we can get from practitioners and from society is, if we take a pill and it doesn't work, then we're stuck with the symptom. Or if we have relatives that have had the same issues, then we're going to have the same problem. And I'm here to tell you that is not true. And I'm sure you see examples of it not being true. But because we get that messaging so consistently, it is kind of built into our mindset. And I like to challenge that, because there's no way that I could accept that for my family, for myself, and for my children, because my parents didn't live very long. So I don't want to set my kids up to believe that that's what they have to accept. So that's just an example. It could be that we have people in our family that develop diabetes, and we are assuming that we too will develop diabetes. Well, yeah, with that mindset and with feeling powerless, not doing anything about your diet or exercise, and not taking control of the situation, then you're pretty much setting yourself up. But it is such an opportunity to look at what your family history is, what their eating habits are, what your eating habits are. And then, of course, I always recommend that you go that next level and look at your DNA, because your DNA can tell you what is most important for you to change and what is most supportive of you. You might be doing some of the things that are really supportive for you that your relatives didn't do, and you're already setting yourself up for success, and yet you feel defeated because of the family history and because of the way that society depicts it. I really feel like we're setting ourselves up to feel defeated before we ever are, because we're just looking at it as like a foregone conclusion, and it never is. When we take a standard approach to health, we are looking at what medications are recommended, what symptoms are expected, and some general lifestyle changes that are recommended, sometimes not, because that's just not the field of expertise for practitioners, for like doctors. But I'll give you an example. When I research somebody's family history or their personal health experience, and I start to see that there's a disease, let's say it's cancer, and we look to see the frequency in the families, any symptoms or lifestyle of that person that we're concerned about, then we start to look at not just a gene that they've identified as an indication for that particular type of cancer, but we would also look at how well does the body detoxify, because detoxification, we know that oxidative stress and inflammation are major precursors of cancer, but all diseases. So when we start to think about how inflammation and oxidative stress occur, we think of external environment, we think of stress, how you actually handle stress. And then when we look at DNA, we can understand better how does your body detoxify and recover from those toxins that you're getting from the environment. How do you actually handle stress? How does your body manage stress? And then we also can look at how does your body manage and process antioxidants, because when it comes right down to our protective measures for our body, we store up antioxidants to neutralize the oxidation that occurs in our body. So if we don't handle or absorb or process our antioxidants very well, we need more of them. We need to make sure we have the right sources and that we're eating well and that we have proper sleep, because we're repairing our DNA while we're sleeping and all of the things. When we start to zoom into our DNA, it gives us a much more detailed view of what we can do. We're taking generic health advice to a whole nother level. We're taking it to a personalized approach where we can really feel confident that we are making changes that are actually making a difference in our system, in our lives. To me, what I'm seeing with clients is that's compelling. They're sticking with their lifestyle changes, with diet changes. They're able to feel and see the benefits without getting to the end, where we're saying, okay, a year from now, I finally feel better. No, it really is more rapid than that. I think it's important to take that step and really start to reflect on what your body is telling you in terms of symptoms, reactions, responses, what's serving you and what's not. Documenting, I always say documenting. I know everybody's tired of hearing it, but it really is important, because if we don't document, we forget. I mean, I'm all about health and I forget. If I don't write down when I started a supplement or when I started working out or I started doing something different, walking on a treadmill, here's the thing is, it is about accountability, but that's not why I'm telling you to write it down. What I'm asking you to do is have a comparison and a sense of what is working for you and what isn't. Because walking on a treadmill isn't great for everyone. Well, I'll say, at what speed are you walking and for how long are you walking? Because if you're walking at a really rapid pace, for some people, that's what they need. Other people need to walk slower on that treadmill or outside. For some people, it creates more oxidative stress. People who run marathons are creating a lot of oxidative stress. You'll hear occasionally, hopefully not often, about people who are super fit and work out and they drop dead of a heart attack. And it's like, okay, well then I guess I'm not going to work out anymore. No, that is not the lesson to be learned here. The lesson to be learned is know your tolerance for oxidative stress and understand the input that is driving oxidative stress and what's bringing it down. What are we doing to help our bodies recover from a marathon? Or if we run 3 miles a day, that may be great for some people, but other people need more time to recover and oxidative stress support as well. Another term that I had asked was biohacking. And I have mixed feelings about the term biohacking because I think biohacking in the early 2000s was initiated right around the time with the coffee trend, adding butter to coffee and all of that is when I think of it. And it's funny because biohacking isn't a bad thing. I think it's good, but I do still feel like it's guessing. And I do consider DNA analysis as a fantastic biohack if you think of biohacking as something that is strategic. If you think of biohacking as a list of options of ways to hack the system and give your body that extra up-leveling that you need by adding butter to your coffee or by taking an ice bath, doing saunas, red light therapy, all of these things that are considered biohacking are not bad things. I do feel, though, that there are some people, ozone therapy is a good example because not everyone is going to benefit from ozone therapy. It can cause a lot of oxidative stress. For some people, it is not good. So I don't want to just generalize and say that all biohacking options are to be on the list. No, because that's just as bad as just taking a medicine that somebody scribbles on a prescription pad. You have to know what's right for your body. And unfortunately, the standard medicine approach and the biohacking approach is guessing. It is looking at something and analyzing it as a symptom, or in biohacking sometimes it's a goal, like a performance goal, and then saying we are going to equate what we're going to give you with that particular performance goal or symptom. It takes you completely out of the equation. That's so wrong because obviously you are an individual. You have a subset of different activity going on in all the different systems of your body. And then they all have to coordinate and work together. So we need to make sure that we are honoring them and that we're respectful of all of the work that our bodies are doing to achieve the longevity and the quality of health that we are really looking for. A personalized health strategy is something that gives you that approach because it's not going to be where you look at some DNA categories and you say, okay, this is all I need to do for the rest of my life. It's an evolving strategy because you always want to listen to how your body responds. And there are different layers to our health. If we feel better in one respect but not in another, it doesn't mean we just throw it all out. And that's why I also say, let's not start all of our supplements at once. Start 1, maybe 2 at a time, depending on what systems they're working with. And if you have any history of using that particular supplement or lifestyle change, and then see what really is serving you. And as you're introducing them, you can get a sense of what's really helping you and what isn't. When it comes to prevention, clearly we know taking better care of our health can prevent illness, and not guessing, but knowing what our body actually needs, what our body is going to benefit from, and how we can implement those things in a way that is, we want to address what it is we want to do. So it's not just those biohacking ideas. We're looking at our DNA. We recognize, let's say it's based on a symptom, and we're looking at a particular area of our DNA, and we have clues of where to look when we know our either family history or our symptoms or what our goals are. We look at those areas of DNA, we recognize some of our efficiencies and inefficiencies, and then we have a better sense of what we need to support. We might make a few lifestyle changes and a diet change. And let's say that we do that over a period of a month. A week and a half, we give ourselves to make one change, and then we step into the next change. And sometimes it's fewer changes, but as we are identifying how we're feeling, we can also think about doing labs and look at our starting point of labs, and then 6 months to a year later, we can do more labs to see, has it changed? If we have elevated homocysteine, if we have low vitamin D, B12, or folate, all of these things that we know are very, very closely tied to health outcomes. I won't say anything's guaranteed, but prevention is much more likely. And then we know if you're concerned about a particular disease, like I used cancer as the example, we know that if we are up-leveling our health in the area of detoxification and antioxidants, then we know that that is certainly not going to hurt. And we're going to give ourselves every benefit of learning as we go. What else do we need to do? Movement, working out, getting enough sleep. There are certain things that everyone could benefit from. Improved sleep is very important for everyone because we need to assimilate our memories while we're sleeping. We need to be able to renew our DNA, give ourselves an opportunity to heal our organs while we're sleeping. Resetting and being able to give ourselves the benefit of intermittent fasting while we're sleeping. It's kind of a built-in process in the system. So we're giving ourselves all of these benefits. When we don't recognize how valuable it is to us, we can ignore our bedtime much more easily. We can blow it off and play on our phones, or when we wake up in the middle of the night, think it's no big deal to go and watch a show. But it is a big deal because we are rewarding bad behavior. First of all, the brain can act up all at once, and it will continue to do so if you reward it. It's just like a child. You need to be able to hold steady with your objective of getting sleep during certain hours. And this is both from experience, but also from science. When I used to have a wellness center, that was what I focused on, was brain health. And it was really important to see the valuable improvements that people would experience when they just stopped playing the video games up until the time they went to bed, or they stopped playing on their phone until they fell asleep, or even listening to music through the night while they had earbuds in. Leaving the TV on while you're sleeping is another big one. So not good, because you're basically activating your brain in ways that you don't want to while you're sleeping. You want your brain to be at rest. You want your body to be at rest, and allow your nervous system to calm down. Having white noise, having really predictable, calming music might be okay. But even that, you're training your brain to be somewhat active when you're sleeping. And I would say the better choice would be to have something that is on a timer if you can't fall asleep. But my ultimate goal is figure out why you're not falling asleep. That's the ultimate goal. So if it's caffeine during the day, if it is activity or the lack of activity, if you're working out later at night and getting your body stimulated too much, then you back up your time of workouts. If you're not working out at all, start working out. You could meditate at night or do a really nice relaxation yoga session or Pilates session before you go to bed if you really want to work out beforehand. We have to be intuitive, listen to our bodies, and really appreciate what changes we have control over and do something for ourselves to make a difference. Exercise is huge. Stress management, exercise is part of that. But when you think about stress management, I know meditation is a word that some people resist because they feel they can't do it. But meditation is a skill, but it isn't about not thinking. What I would say is you want to be able to close your eyes and just focus on your breathing, be able to experience the current moment. You're not thinking about later, you're not thinking about past, you're in this moment. And that is really valuable. Now, your stress response is influenced by your genes. So if you feel like you can't relax, it's something you need to investigate because your body needs to be able to relax. And there are things that you can do to support your body in a quicker transition into relaxation and be able to stay there longer. But things like anxiety, worry, and even nervous energy, your nervous system, it's important because there are a lot of things that you can do to support. Even DNA methylation, when you look at the methylation pathway, it is also involved and very, very important. When it comes to immune function, we also want to make sure that we're giving ourselves every advantage when it comes to staying well, because that's a stress on the body when we get sick. When we have challenges, whether it's the immune system, the metabolic system, or even the cognitive system, when we are distracted and unable to focus, it becomes stressful because we're not able to get things done. And then the pressure from the outside world starts to impose itself on us. Metabolically, if we aren't able to process our foods efficiently, if we feel like we are having digestive issues, if we are gaining weight or losing weight, we really need to look at that because it's causing internal stress. And then, of course, the immune function, if we are sick, there's that constant signaling from the body to the brain that there's something wrong. We want to understand what our bodies need to stay well the majority of the time and to stay focused and to maintain a steady weight and things like that. Really being able to understand what's going on in your body is critical. The whole point is to know your body, and you can start learning about your body in different degrees. It could be that you're just starting and you want to just start tracking. I do have a tracking sheet if you need it. I can send it to you if you want to just comment below. It's important to have an easy approach to tracking because it can become a little overwhelming. But let's say you've been really seasoned in health and you just need to go deeper, then we can look at labs, we can look at DNA and really start to negotiate with what you've been doing and identify whether it's enough or whether you need to do more. Really understanding that you are in control. You are the powerful one. We're not giving away our power to a practitioner anymore. That is not the game that I want to play for sure. And I'm hoping that you don't either, because all you have to do is look back and say, how's that working for me? And most people who listen to this, most people who have contacted me and reached out about the process that I do, that's exactly why they're reaching out to me. It hasn't been working, and it's frustrating, and it's limiting, and they're not feeling great. I don't want that to be assumed that that is the only way. And that's why I'm so vocal about it right now. I'm not super comfortable being out on social media and constantly being the voice that people hear, but the information needs to be heard. We have to take control. And I look at it for myself. If it's not just me taking control for myself, I'm taking control for my kids. And if I didn't have kids, I'd want to be taking control for other generations, whether they are nieces and nephews, if it's other kids that just see me as an example. I need to make sure that I'm setting the example, that I'm not just waiting for disease to strike. And I'm not just accepting limitations and living my life to the maybe 50% degree that I could be living it because I have symptoms, so it's holding me back. No, that's not okay. It's a terrible example. And what I learn about my health, I immediately pass on to my kids because they have my same DNA. So not same, but similar. They have 50%. I want to make sure that they're not feeling like they're stuck. Oh, I have to live with this symptom because my mom had it. I have to deal with this symptom. I have to go to the doctor and ask for a medication to solve it. Bullshit. Figure out your body. Know what you need to do. Give yourself every advantage to actually be able to take control. Do the things that really matter and listen to your body. It's a two-way street. Your body is definitely communicating with you. And so we want to make sure that we are claiming that power and we are stepping into it and taking it seriously, because life is different when you have a sense of responsibility and power in your health. It doesn't feel like it's a foregone conclusion that I have to just live with. I've been there. It's been years, but when I was there, it was not pretty, because I thought I was going to die young, and I didn't think I had any choice in the matter. I didn't think that I had any influence over things, and that was a very unsettling place to be. I don't want my kids to feel that way. I don't want you or your kids to feel that way. I want everyone to hear that there is an alternative. I hope this was helpful today. There are a few things I do want to let you know. I have a monthly open office hours session that I do the second Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. If you aren't able to make it and you have a question you want me to address, just send that question to me and I will answer those questions even if you're not there, so that you can listen to the recording. I'm also doing Healthy Start sessions on Mondays. Now that is a paid program. If you're already a client, you can join those for free. You are able to identify what your health goals are for the week, and you don't have to share them, but it is an opportunity for you to ask questions about either barriers, any challenges that you're having, anything as far as setting goals and mapping out your week, because we want to make sure that by the end of every quarter, you're achieving some of your health goals, and then you're establishing new health goals for that next quarter and just keeping you moving forward. That is what I have on the docket right now. I really appreciate you being on, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much for joining me for this DNA Health Investigation episode. If you would like to hear more, please like and subscribe so you can get occasional notifications of new information. You're also welcome to join my community on Facebook, watch my videos on YouTube, and read my latest articles on Substack. The links can be found in the show notes. Thanks again, and I hope to see you next time.